How's your Friday? Hello. We're going. What's happening? I don't know if anybody's even watching yet. Hello, hello. Happy Friday and welcome. The stream is active and live, and I am here by myself. So let's edit something, since there's nobody to keep me distracted, right? All right. So what do I even have to edit? Let's take a look. I know. I think I will edit another shot of Delirium. Actually, might as well go with the one I was just working on in Lightroom, which I actually already exported. So it's ready to bring into Affinity. So we will do just that. Not used to streaming by myself. I'm cool with it though. Everybody must be busy this Friday. Because there ain't nobody here watching me. So I'll actually get some work done. All right. Oh, my screen is dirty. All right, blank pixel layer. Oh, you're like, where is everybody? Where is everybody? Let's find out. I'm gonna see where everybody is. All by, I can't spell. All by my lonesome. There we go. Hey, Sandy, how's it going? I'm in here all by myself. Super light crowd today, apparently, which is cool. I'm all right with it. I was just posting in Facebook. So how's your week been, Sandy? To see where everybody is and what everybody's up to. Hello, Edgar. How are you? Yes, I am jamming. Might as well, right? It's Friday. Gotta have a good day. Gonna have a good time. Ba-ba. Ooh. Ooh, Tim says, where are you streaming? YouTube isn't showing your stream? It should be. All right, hold on a moment. Maybe that's why nobody's here. It is public. It should be on my YouTube. Let me check my channel. Oh, it shows like 5 live now on my channel. That's super weird. Can't wait for hot weather this weekend, right? Hold on, let me grab... Hey, John, how's it going, buddy? How's it going, man? Glad you made it on time. I was actually editing my video before the stream started. Just showed up now. Okay, so Tim should be popping in here any minute too then. Glad you're able to make it, John. John and I have been chatting. By the way, here it is. Still not running the beta, but this is an iPad 6th generation. Look at, this is crazy town though. Look at this. I did not realize the difference in size between these two, but just look at that. It's crazy. But this is going to be the iPad on which I install iPad OS beta so that I can see all of the cool stuff that we can do with photos and full file access, like importing directly into Lightroom and also doing things like not having to use Lightroom on your iPad because not everybody wants to pay for it. So how you can organize using the file system or something like iCloud or Dropbox. You also have full disk access through the ports. I'm super excited, but I have to get the beta installed on here. And John was showing me actually how I can do that. without having to be a developer and have a developer account, which is pretty awesome because I didn't really want to have to pay the $99 to Apple just to get access to the beta before the public beta comes up in July. So I'm excited about this. Plus, this thing is so light that I'm going to be doing my reading and whatnot before bed on this rather than on my 12.9 inch. So that's exciting. Hey, Drew, buddy, how you doing, man? Hello, America. Hello, Ephraim. How are you? How are you? I just got to flip my iPad around. Yeah, it's warm here too, Sandy. What do you guys got planned for the weekend? I've got a busy weekend this week. I have tomorrow, Zara and I are recording several podcasts for the Business Windup podcast. We're trying to get a number of them ready for our podcast feed. And then on Saturday or Sunday, I have a double photo shoot. In fact, this that you see on screen, this is Delirium from the Endless from Sandman. And there are 7 characters from the book, from the comic book. And we're shooting 2 of those characters on Sunday. So Sunday is going to be a busy day. So I'm pretty excited. Sandy, you're relaxing on the beach? Oh my God, I'm not going to lie, I'm super jealous right now. Because I could handle being on a beach. That would be pretty nice, I would have to say. Hello, PM. How are you, man? How are you? What's happening? Everybody's starting to show up, which is great. So, yeah. That is what I've got planned for the weekend. It should be a really good weekend. I'm excited about it. But it's also kind of a crazy busy weekend, which, like, that's not a bad thing. But at the same time, like, I think I might need to... Well, I am kind of going to be taking a break because next weekend, in fact, I'm going to mention this right now, next Friday, there won't be a live stream because we will be driving. We will be on our way to Arkansas on Friday. So Friday I won't be streaming here, but maybe once we get into Arkansas, because I'm going to be actually like sitting in an Airbnb working for the weekend by myself, maybe I'll do a stream on Saturday at the Airbnb if the internet there is good enough. It wouldn't be quite as high level as this because I'd have to like do it from my phone or something, but we could maybe figure something out for next Friday or next Saturday. Hello, Flavio. How are you, bud? Hello, Victor. Hello from South Florida. Awesome. Hello from Wisconsin. If it's not raining, putting more miles on the mountain bike, nice. If it is raining, making sawdust in the workshop on a few project ideas. I need to take my bike in and just like get my tires checked out and everything for the season. And then I want to start riding my bike to work. I don't work very far away, so it's not like a huge bike ride. It'll probably be, it's like maybe half a mile to a mile away. So it's a nice, easy ride, but it's a way for me to do a little bit more exercise. Ooh, that didn't work out very well. I exercised yesterday. This is kind of exciting, too. So when I exercise, I lift weights. That's what I prefer. I do cardio as well. I'm doing some rowing cardio. I try to do like 20 to 30 minutes of cardio a week because cardio is good, even though I hate cardio, right? So I do the rowing machine for cardio. But I much prefer lifting weights for my principal exercise. And my squats, I'm currently up to 275 pounds on my squats, which is pretty exciting. My personal best, which I achieved, gosh, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago or so, my personal best on the squat was 315 pounds. So I don't know if I'm aiming to go back up to that or even above that, but I love seeing the progress when I keep adding that weight, adding that weight, adding that weight. So I'm excited about the squats, and we'll be lifting again tomorrow. Wife would kill me if I rode my bike to work. Granted, it's just down the hallway, right? Yeah, I could totally understand that, Drew. Hello, Cochise, from my U-Haul, moving to Utah. Awesome. We'll drive safe, especially in that U-Haul. I got kind of a funny U-Haul story. When my wife and I moved here to where we live in central Wisconsin, we moved here from Madison, which is about a 2-hour drive. Yeah, I agree, Sandy. Utah is beautiful. I've never been there, but I've seen some amazing photos. in Utah, or from Utah rather. But what I was about to say is I have a bit of a funny story regarding U-Hauls, because when we moved up here, we rented a U-Haul to drive up here. It's a 2-hour drive on the interstate with the speed limit of 65 miles an hour. And we're driving up the interstate, and it was a stressful day moving to begin with. And then the drive was even more stressful because I was driving this great big U-Haul truck, which wasn't like a semi, but it's still it was one of the big U-Haul trucks, and I'd never driven a truck that big before. And I was driving on the interstate, going what I thought was the speed limit of 65 miles an hour, because that's what the speedometer on my truck that I was driving that we rented from U-Haul said. So I'm driving 65 miles an hour in this great big truck, and I'm getting a ton of traffic in front of me that is going what I thought was like super slow, which was making me super frustrated because I just wanted to get there so we could be done with the driving part, and I could be off of the road with this truck and all of this stuff, right? So I was getting super stressed out and super annoyed and super frustrated driving all the way up there, passing cars if I felt safe to pass, and cursing out people in front of me who wouldn't get out of the way because I thought they were going like 55 miles an hour on the highway, because I'm going 65, the speed limit, and like I'm just passing everybody and coming up on everybody. I'm like, why is everybody driving like a slow today, right? Well, when we finally arrived to our destination, our new home, 2 hours later, come to find out that entire way, I was going like 75 to 80 miles an hour. The U-Haul speedometer was way off. And so I was driving like a crazy person that entire way, thinking everybody else was driving like assholes because they were going like 50 miles an hour on a perfectly beautiful, clear day on the interstate. So that was my fun U-Haul experience. Hi, Mike. What do I do to an image on iPad? So I do a lot of stuff. I do everything in a U-Haul. Lucky you are still going with us going that fast. Yeah, I know, right? Like, it was crazy. That was dangerous. And I didn't think it didn't feel like I was going that fast, and I was going by the speedometer. So it was pretty crazy. The beer laws in Utah. Yeah, a drier places. I agree with that. Like when we're going to Arkansas, and this is kind of funny too. I'll answer your question, Ephraim, in a moment here. I'll get to this. Let me tell this other story though real quick. The first time we went to Arkansas was like 15 years ago to visit the friend that we're going to be visiting this coming week. And when we were talking about visiting, she said something about the fact that they live in a dry county. And I was like, what? I was like, there are still dry counties out there? I thought that was like crazy town that had, was gone. But yeah, they live in a dry county where you cannot buy any kind of alcohol, where they have to leave the county in order to find a place that either A, if they want to go to a bar, which they're not bar people, or B, if they want to go to a store of some kind to buy beer, liquor, wine, whatever. And I was like, I can't even believe this still exists in the world. But I get it, right? Different strokes, different folks. Okay, so Ephraim, what do I do with an image on the iPad? I do everything, starting in Lightroom, where I do my raw edits. And I'm not going to go over the raw edits. I'll just quickly kind of show you, like, basic exposure, color, all of this stuff. This is where I started with this raw image. Shot out of camera like this, and then this is where I ended after I did my raw edits. And then I was in Affinity Photo where I was starting to do my work. And Mike, yes, they did update Affinity Photo. So if you take a look here, do they have like an about or whatever? Yeah, down here in the lower right hand corner, you should be able to see on screen, it says they just recently updated Affinity Photo to version 1.7.0.135. And there were some changes, not a ton of changes that I saw directly. Probably the biggest change that I see that I'm kind of excited about is this. Let me show you. Let me find it. So in the hue saturation layer, they changed how this works quite a bit, because now you have this ability to work on ranges. So with this HSL, what you can do is, let's say I want to target the reds, and I want to change the color of the reds. You see those 4 dots that show up on the range wheel there? That's showing me the range that is going to be affected by the hue adjustment I make. So watch right now what happens. Like, I'm just going to push the hue over into, you know, this blue as an example. And you can see how a whole bunch of colors change. But if I want to restrict those changes, I can pull this range in and see how now her flesh tones are returning, and how I've just really started to localize the color adjustment to the actual reds. Whereas if I take this range and I like pull it way out here, I expand what is being changed by the color. So this is a really cool tool that they added to this new update. And I'd have to look to see what the other updates are. S Squared Design Works. I do prefer Affinity over Photoshop, but that's because this is the only option for like really editing photos on an iPad. Adobe is working on their Photoshop for iPad, and when that comes out, I do plan to test it. But until then, I absolutely prefer Affinity over Photoshop because this is the only option for me on the iPad, and I love working on the iPad. Whoops, did I delete my layer? Let's just go back to here. Oh no, I was in painting. I gotta undo all of the work I did. I thought I had set up my layer. Well, son of a gun. All right, let's take this back to the beginning, because we want to undo everything and set up my pixel layer that I should have had for my in-painting brush. I thought I had set that layer up. Okay, so Ephraim, what I do is I do my full editing suite, I do my Lightroom stuff, then I come here into Affinity and I do my full editing here in Affinity. Retouching, cloning, dodging and burning, composite work when I'm doing a composite. As an example, I can show you real quick. I don't have one here handy. I can show you in the beta because I was working in the beta. This is the beta that I had installed. Now I'm running the full, actually updated version of Affinity Photo. But here's an example. This is a composite that I did here in Affinity. So I'm just going to step back the different layers until you can see where I started with this image and then where I end as I built up the image. Adding the moon, adding stars into the shot, adding more stars, adding a city into the background, adding some dodge and burn, sharpening the eyes, and then color grading the image. So that's what I do. And Ephraim, if you want to know how to do a specific thing, just ask, and I'll if I know how to do it, I'll show you how to do it. I'm still learning, but I do all of my editing work on the iPad. Hello, VGM Lucifer. How are you today? And hello, Ultra MUC. How are you as well? Brant says, we lived in a dry county 20 plus years ago. There were private clubs where if you paid to get in, you could buy alcohol, kind of like the speakeasy days. Ah, okay, clever. That's a way to do it, because that makes sense. It's a private club. It's not a public place. Hello, Bella JB. How are you today? Just checking something here real quick. All right. So that's my basic editing breakdown and workflow. And you guys can watch because I'm going to do some editing here. Unless you guys keep me sufficiently distracted, we'll see how you do today, right? Will I or will I not get any editing done? I see Mike is here. So, Mike, I know you've got plans to keep me not editing. But Shane isn't here. Your partner isn't here to keep me distracted. So, we'll have to see how good a job you guys do. Yeah, I'm not sure... what we're doing next weekend is my wife is actually getting together with her girlfriends from high school. They're all from Wisconsin, but one of her girlfriends moved to Arkansas. So we're taking this trip to Arkansas for this girls' weekend. And I'm actually going to hole up in our Airbnb and just work. So for me, it's actually going to be a working weekend. But for my wife, it's going to be a fun time weekend. And I mean, I'm not going to like work 24/7, whatever, but I do plan to get, whoops, all right, we're going to undo that. I do plan to try to get a bunch of work done, including some videos on editing in Affinity for my channel. So it should be a productive weekend and a fun weekend. Someone told me the new Lightroom doesn't use plugins anymore. You have to go through Photoshop. That's not true. Unless you're talking about Lightroom CC versus Lightroom Classic. Because as of right now, yes, the new Lightroom, which is Lightroom CC, which is like this version here, they have this version on the iPad, and then they have the version that matches this on desktop. That version does not use plugins. That is accurate. And if you're using just this version of Lightroom, then you do need to go through Photoshop to use plugins. Or many of the plugins programs can also run as standalone programs. They don't have to be installed as plugins. It's convenient if they are, but you can just run the image, you can just run the plugin as a program. So that is accurate if we're talking about Lightroom CC. If we're talking about Lightroom Classic, Classic still runs with plugins just like it used to before. Coach Cheeseheart, that's always crazy. It's so much snow this winter, they are keeping the ski resorts open. Holy crap. That is crazy, Cochise. That is crazy. Yeah, that is always crazy being in the mountains out there in the summer and seeing the snow. Absolutely. The picture with the woman with her at the end is great. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome, Ephraim. Thank you. The picture is full of colors. Yeah, I love the colors. That was part of the point of the photograph. So this one is meant to be a very colorful photo. All right, so... Oh, I'm in Lightroom. No wonder I can't twist this around and do what I want to do. So this one here is Delirium from the Endless. And that's pretty good there. Now just a little bit of touch up on the face here. Hello, Subvids. How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for hopping in and joining the show today. I'm actually getting some work done, so there's some slacking going on in the chat with you guys, since I usually don't get this much work done. All right, but I'm liking the new updates to Affinity Photo in the interface, because the other thing that I noticed is all of the interface elements up here on the left and then over on the right have, and even on the bottom, who you kidding, right? Yeah, you're right. Oh, God. That must be what he was talking about. I don't use it anymore, but have a friend that do. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, if they're using the new version, they don't get plugins. Yeah. Okay, Subvids. Challenge accepted, right? But what I was saying, which is nice, is they shrunk down all of the interface elements in Affinity Photo just to give you more room for your image while you're working on it, which I appreciate. I think that's a nice thing for them to do to keep improving the software and keep improving the work experience that we have while using it to edit our images. Because realistically, you do want the tools out of the way. You want the image to shine and speak for itself. VGM Lucifer, watching this gives me another incentive to grab an iPad if budget allows, since it's taxing editing on an iPhone 8 Plus. Appreciate the tip to get Lightning to SD card reader to import RAW. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you don't have to spend big money on the iPad, right? Like I've got this iPad here, which is the iPad Pro, because this is my editing computer. This iPad Pro is my editing computer. So I spent a chunk of money getting the really good one because I plan to use this for a long time and I wanted the maximum capability. But if budget doesn't allow for that, you can get something like this. This is the 2018 or 2017. It's the 6th generation iPad. This one works with iPad Pencil, the original iPad Pencil. You can get one of these for $300. This is a 128 gigabyte version, and it was $350. That's very affordable. And then you get the pencil for another $100, and you can edit on this. You can do the same editing that I'm doing here on this. In fact, when I started editing on the iPad, I was editing on not this exact iPad, but this exact size screen, and an iPad that actually had less power, which means, you know, it's perfectly capable of handling this. And if a person wants to get started with it, definitely get in at whatever budget you can get in. I definitely recommend you get an iPad that supports Apple Pencil, because if you're going to be working in Affinity, the pencil is tremendous. For Lightroom, if you're just using Lightroom, just using your fingers on the sliders would be fine. But if you're going to be doing like Affinity Photoshop style editing, then definitely get an iPad that can support the pencil. Yeah, I love it. And I am so excited for iOS, for iPad OS and full file access. That's going to change how we can work and how we can use the iPad to work managing our photos. Hey, Lewis, how you doing? Mike says, have you heard rumors that Affinity has their version of a digital asset manager in the works? Yes, I have. They have been talking about that for a couple of years. They actually said back in like 2015 or 16 or 17 that a digital asset manager is on their roadmap, but they have not said when. So no idea when it's coming out, but I am excited for them to produce a digital asset manager. The only thing I don't like about Affinity and Lightroom is that Lightroom doesn't support Affinity's native file, the .af photo file. I'm managing those outside of Lightroom, which is fine because it still works for me, but having something that's seamless, if their asset manager is good, that would be even better, and that would make me even happier. I don't use Apple. Any good Mac alternatives? Yes. I would look at one of the if you want a tablet style editing experience like I'm doing right now, then look at a Microsoft Surface, one of the Microsoft Surfaces with the Microsoft stylus. You won't have Affinity Photo like I do because this is a tablet designed version, but on the Microsoft Surface, you could use the desktop version of Affinity or the desktop version of Photoshop and get a similar experience. The only downside is that Photoshop and Affinity for desktop aren't optimized or not designed for touch the way this version of Affinity is, but you can still use them in this touch manner with the stylus on one of the Surface tablet devices. So that's what I would recommend subvids if you want a similar editing experience to what I'm doing right here. And I think that is the editing format of the future. Some sort of a tablet-like computer with this sort of an interface and some sort of a stylus where you're working directly on the screen. And iPad is one option. Microsoft Surface tablets are the second option right now. And to me, those are really the only two viable options. Android tablets aren't there yet because they don't have the apps. They don't have the options. You can do Lightroom on an Android tablet, and that's fine, but there's no Affinity or Photoshop or similar style software that has the power on an Android tablet. So definitely look at the Surface. Also, don't forget when iPad OS comes out, you can use a mouse for Lightroom. Haven't tested yet on Affinity. Yeah, that's something that I don't see myself using a lot. I'm going to test it. I'm going to see what it's like. But part of why I love the iPad is this interaction. And so if I find a use case for a mouse for me with the iPad, I'll check it out. If other people want to use it that way, right? Like that's great because then you can. But for me, I don't see myself using it that way much, if at all. But it's a wonderful feature. Like, I'm very happy that Apple added it. It's an accessibility feature at this point, so it's not like a full-blown iPad does support mice kind of thing. It's currently an accessibility thing. All right. Hey, Sandy. The popping sound that I was hearing in my Godox trigger is the plastic screen moving around when I hold it in a certain way. It must not be snug when I press. Oh, okay. That makes perfect sense. That's unfortunate. I wonder if you could take it apart and re-secure it. Or if not, If you got it from Amazon, you'd have to try to contact Godox directly. But if you got it from Adorama, then you could contact Adorama for support. I need to get a new editing computer, Drew says. S-Squared Design Works. I kind of killed my current one trying to get it to do too much. Need to get one solution for editing and 3D modeling. Yeah, that's a tall order because that's obviously very graphics intensive. Are you a Windows or a Mac user, Drew? That obviously affects the decision that you make. What are you thinking about for your editing computer? I'd be curious to know. All right. So this I don't need to do a ton of cleanup work on, which is great. I'm not really going to do skin softening here either. I might do it really lightly, so let me just see how it handles it. I'm just going to run it real quick. Okay, yeah, then contact B&H because they might, if it's under warranty, they might just flat out replace it. Windows user as Mac doesn't support CAD CAM stuff for the model programs I have to use. Okay, I understand. So then are you going to build your own PC or are you going to buy something off the shelf? I do use both actually. Like the PC that's running all of my streaming stuff, which is, it's actually on the desk right over here, is a PC, is a Windows PC. All I use it for is streaming. I don't use it for like regular work, so to speak, because most of the regular work that I do, I'm doing on the iPad or on my iMac. I do prefer Mac OS and iPad OS as my work environments, work operating systems. But I'm not a person who thinks that, you know, Windows, whatever, all of these other platforms are trash. You know, not that guy. If they work for other people, like, you know, like you said, Drew, you've got specific software needs and Mac doesn't support it. Makes perfect sense, right? Hey, Tim, buddy, how you doing? I like to buy one built. Not really good at doing electronics building. Okay, yeah, I wasn't good at all. I never built a computer. I'm decent with electronics in general, but Tim, who just joined the chat, actually helped me build my streaming PC, which was huge because I probably could have figured it out, but A, I wouldn't have been able to do it as fast. B, I wouldn't have known what to buy. Tim helped me select all the components. And C, I probably would have screwed up the assembly rather than have it go as smoothly as it did with Tim's help. So once again, I know it's been a couple years now, but Tim, that was so tremendous of you to help me with that, and I really appreciate that. That this streaming PC has been working like a champ for me ever since, and I'm very happy for that. Because I had been streaming with my Mac and with my MacBook Pro, and those Macs are not built for streaming. Like if I had a Mac Pro, like one of those new $6,000 Mac Pros, that could probably handle it, or even an iMac Pro might be able to handle it. But right, I'm not going to spend $6,000 for that. Like this was, I think, Tim, I think we did it for like $1,000. It was around like $1,200 altogether. And that was before video cards really spiked in price though too. Hey Shane, buddy, how you doing? How are you? Oh, I forgot to do something, guys. I forgot to do something, but we're halfway through the chat, so why don't I take this moment to do this. Hold on a moment. I totally forgot where I am and what I'm doing. Here we go. Okay, so we're going to start this. I am going to take a moment and say thank you to everybody who has joined. And if you would like to support me, what I do, the streams, all of the things, you can do that a couple of different ways. One is by checking out the merch store and picking up any merch that you might want, like t-shirts, mugs. We got phone cases, stickers, tote bags, hoodies, all the good stuff. Any support there would be greatly, greatly appreciated. Or you could check out my Patreon and you could become an ongoing patron and supporter of the channel. We've got some pretty cool rewards, and any support that you guys can give at any time would be amazing. And if monetary support isn't an option that you can offer, I totally respect that. Sharing what I do in my work is also a great way to support what I do here on the channel. So that's, you know, sharing these live streams, telling people about my channel that you know are interested in photography, stuff like that. So if you guys want to help out a little bit, any way you could do that, I really, really appreciate it. Will I be carrying Speedos in the store asking for a friend? Maybe I should see if we can add Speedos. That would be kind of hilarious. That would be pretty hilarious. Hello, Leo Manchetti. How are you? How are you doing? John, I'm glad I was able to catch you live. We'll keep in touch. Got to head out to a photo shoot. Take care. I will, man. I will. Thank you for joining. I'm glad you were able to hop on and hang out. Drew, yeah, Drew says the Patreon stuff is good. Thank you very much. And again, Drew, I appreciate your support. Tim is also a Patreon supporter, and PM was here earlier. I'm not sure if PM's still hanging out, but PM is also one of our patrons, and I thank all of you because I appreciate your support. That really is tremendous. Hello, Dean. How you doing, bud? I see you popped into the chat. Happy to have you here. So I was in the middle of skin softening, right? See, you guys are doing a good job now. You are successfully distracting me from the task at hand. Mission accomplished, guys. Yeah, I don't even know if I don't think I want to do any skin softening, honestly. I'm just going to delete that layer, and I'm going to go straight to the dodge and burn. So let us do dodge and burn. How are you, Dean? Whoops, that's the wrong. We want to delete all of these, and we want to do eyes. I've changed my dodge and burn process, so I'm actually using curves layers with layer masks for my dodging and burning. So, brush, opacity is set, pick out, let's set this one is the dodge. So we should name these. I have to update my actions to reflect this. Oh my god, I would die if a Speedo pop up on the list. All right. Okay, step by step for the dodge and burn again. Okay, I'll give you the step by step again, Tim. In fact, I will just delete these layers and we'll walk through it literally one action at a time. Hey, Christian, how you doing, bud? Mike, if they have Speedos, I promise you I'm going to add Speedos to the merch store. I promise you, if they have them, they will show up. Which would be awesome. Okay, is this thing working? I hate it when things that are supposed to work don't work. Anyway. Mankini, exactly. Okay, so dodge and burn, Tim. Here's what I recommend we do. Toy Photography Photo Blab channel, not quite going to plan. I've seen the stuff you're working on, though. I like where you're going with it. That's for sure. I haven't shot anything yet, so why are these not working? Sorry, guys. I've got a little tech problem going here on the side that I'm trying to figure out. And I have no idea what's happening here. Monday photo contest with the Speedos, right? Okay, so that hotkey is pressed. Now, actually do the thing you say you're going to do. Do cat toys count for the challenge? Yeah, why not? I mean, it's a toy. And if you're photographing it in a cool and interesting way, I say it counts. These things are always open to interpretation. I saw his stuff on Instagram, Sandy, so you should check it out on Instagram as well. Will be a first, looking forward to it. I am too. Like, I'm excited for the toy challenge. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And like I said, I have ideas, and I think I'm going to try burning some stuff because I want flames in my shot as well. Like, I've got ideas for what I want to do. The question is, will I have time to execute it? Maybe that's what I'll do. No, I won't do that at the Airbnb because I can't burn things there. That would be dangerous and wrong to do. Turns out spray can smoke leaves a sticky film over the subject. You know what you should use for that? This is what you should use for that. If you want spray can smoke, I've used this stuff before and it's great. It's called Atmosphere Aerosol. This stuff right here. Haze for photographers and filmmakers. I have several cans of this and it's worked fantastically and it's not out of line. One can is $11.95. I think I went ahead and I bought the 3 cans to get 1 free for $35. And that's worked out great. Yeah, it is awesome. It's really awesome. Let's see here. Tim says, I'm considering my dirt bike because it's a man-woman toy. It doesn't have to be a kid toy, I don't think. Oh, yeah, you're stretching it out there. Like in my head, toy means, you know, toy, right? But I'm not telling you not to do that, Tim, because it is a toy. You're absolutely right. It's a grown-up toy, and I think that's totally legit. No, Kim's working on some other stuff right now, so she's actually not on the chat. My husband vapes, so I'll just use him when I need haze. There you go. Free vape machine, right? Free smoke machine. Come on, hubby. Vape in there for me. No adult toys. Yeah, right? Oh my god. Yeah, that would be interesting. Okay, Tim, pay attention. Dodge and burn is happening now. Here's what I'm doing. This is my current dodge and burn method. I add a curves tool layer. So what I do is I go underneath the color adjustment. See, if I hold the help down, it's the adjustment studio that I'm actually using, which is this 3-dot icon right here. And then I choose a curves layer. And with that curves layer, I first start and lighten. So I'm starting with the dodge. So I just grab that center point and I pull the curve up to brighten everything up. And then I throw a layer mask on here, an empty layer mask. So I'm going back up to the layer studio. I hit this plus icon right here. And then I hit the empty mask layer, which puts a black mask attached to this layer. And then I rename this layer to dodge. So with that done, I then make sure the layer mask is selected by tapping on it. And this is the thing I'm a little disappointed about. On the previous version of Affinity, it showed you the layer mask was selected by putting a little blue line around it, and they took that away. And now what they've done is they've changed the selection indicators are these slightly different shades of gray. So when I tap the adjustment layer icon, you see it's got this sort of darker gray, indicating the entirety of the layer is selected. But if I tap the mask, it has a much lighter gray, indicating that it's selecting just the mask only. So with the mask selected, I want the paintbrush tool. I want my flow to around 8 or 6, 7, 8%. I want my color to be white and my opacity at 100. And then my brush adjusted based upon the size that I need wherever I'm dodging and burning. Oh no, adult toys. I'm out now, Mike says. That might be funny to do an adult toy challenge. That would actually be kind of hilarious. To make everybody acquire or pull out, let's be honest, right? An adult toy that you may have and then photograph it in some kind of crazy, weird, funny environment. That would be hilarious. Not using it, or at least not using it for its intended purpose, but to actually, yeah, get out there and take some damn adult toy photos. That would be pretty, I think that would be pretty funny. I can see it probably never actually being voted on as a challenge, but I like the idea. So I've got the brush selected, and now I'm doing my dodge work on the dodge and burn layer. And you can see, if you look at that dodge layer, you can see the markings showing up, indicating where I've already done some lightning or dodge work. And the goal is always, for me, the goal is always subtlety, just enhancing what I already have going on. Too funny, right? Great minds think alike. Yeah, that would be a riot of a challenge. I mean, oh my God, how fun and funny would that be to do? That would just be, that would be hilarious. We should do that. Like, I know nobody would probably actually go for it, but we should absolutely do that because that would just be a hoot. All right. Guys, I'm getting editing done. What's happening here? All right. Zara got me in trouble. My wife asked who she was, and I said she's kind of like a mentor. Lo and behold, my wife checks out a page, and Zara's in her unmentionables. Oh, yeah, she took that photo talking about the importance of making your bed in the morning. And that's something that's actually a really interesting And I agree with that post that she posted. Yeah, oops, exactly. But I don't make my bed every day. So this is the premise behind what she shared, and I'll explain. I agree with it, even though I don't make my bed. But here's the basic idea. The premise is, if you make your bed every morning, it is something that you have accomplished, basically immediately, as part of your day. So it's a good way to start the day, because here now you have accomplished this thing. You have made your bed. And then the second reason it's really great is because your bed is made, and it sets the tone of your day by accomplishing a thing. And then when you go to bed at the end of the day, you come in and it's ready for you. It's made, and you can just climb in. You don't have to worry about fixing it up or anything like that. So it starts and it ends your day on a positive, encouraging note. Leo, you can find the results on my Instagram. So I will link to my Instagram in the chat right now. There we go. You can follow me on Instagram, and that's where I post my photos. They also do get posted to my Facebook page, but I think Instagram is probably the better place to see them. Sandy says, I used to make the beds when they were on the first floor. People may see it. Now they are upstairs. I don't bother. See, and that's, for me, I don't bother, because once I'm out of bed, I want to get on with things. And I understand the philosophy, and I understand why it works. But for me, I like to just get out of bed, and when I go to bed, you know, I'm gonna mess it up anyway. So that's kind of how I approach it. You're the reason this planet is dying. Hello, how's it going? We are the reason the planet is dying, right? That is accurate. Why is this not working the way it's supposed to work? This is so obnoxious. I want to try something. We are going to try something and see if it actually works. Bug off. Hey, there, it's finally working. Oh my god. Now it's working. Like Spyros is saying, I think you need to do this thing in the morning. That's not making the bed for me. It's getting ready for the day. Yeah, exactly, right? Like doing a thing to sort of set the tone of your day. That's a really positive and powerful thing. Exactly. So for, you know, for Zara and for, you know, the person who inspired her was like a military general, that sets the tone of their day. For me, it is also getting up, you know, for me, it's getting up and getting to it, like just getting started, which seems funny, but that's what sets the tone. Is if I get up and I am able to do the things that I need to do real quick and just get to work, that's like, okay, this is going to be a good day because I'm at it. Happy Friday to you as well. You're the reason this planet is dying. I hope you're having a wonderful Friday. Okay, so I've been dodging. I haven't been burning anything. Dodge is lighten, burn is darken. Yeah, Leo, you can see some of these photos that I've edited from this set on my Instagram already. And then this one will be posted, but it won't be posted immediately. Just because I've already got like stuff scheduled and planned to be posted to my Instagram out for a little bit. Did you draw that? No, I did not draw. I did not draw this. I photographed it. So this is a photograph that I took, and now I'm editing that photo. I once upon a time aspired to draw, and I was doing some regular drawing and starting to get okay. I was not like good by any stretch of the imagination as far as my drafting abilities went, but I did it for a little while. I was drawing something like every day, just about, and I got to be okay. Now I am terrible. In fact, what did you guys think of? Thank you, Drew. Yeah, I am thrilled with the photos that we created with this shoot, and this model is coming here on Sunday for us to shoot again as part of this project that we're working on. with the Sandman characters. But I forgot what I was saying. Something about drawing. Oh well, it's gone now. Maybe it'll come back. Maybe it won't. What did I see? What did I? Yeah, I have no idea. Whatever I was saying, it has fled my brain. It is gone. Yeah. So, out of curiosity, just because I've been getting, partly because of the videos that I'm making, and also just because people are more interested in it, I've been getting more people asking about editing on the iPad. And to that end, for those of you who are here and who are interested in that, number one, how many of you are using Lightroom on the iPad? And if you are using Lightroom, how many of you don't want to be using Lightroom but are only using it because you haven't found a better option? And then secondarily to that, if you're not using Lightroom, but you are editing your photos on your iPad already, what are you using? And then finally, like, what do you guys want to see from me in terms of videos about editing and managing your photos on the iPad? Because these, I'm really excited to be making these sorts of videos about this topic, and I want to know what people want to know so I know what videos to make. So any feedback you might have on that stuff, that would be really helpful to me in planning and prepping upcoming videos on using the iPad. Dodging and burning like I'm doing, I'm actually going to do a video on that specifically as an example of a video that I'm going to make. I love sketching and drawing, but then again, it's how I help put food on the table. Also, Mary, wife, is new product engineer for a big company. Yeah, I mean, that definitely helps. But yeah, that makes sense too. Like if you are drawing and drafting and designing for the work that you do, that's great because you're getting to be creative in that work. Even if it's not always necessarily, like, you know, because if it's client work, it's not always necessarily work you want to do, but you know, it's work that is still fulfilling because it is a creative endeavor. But yeah, it's always wonderful to have a person that supports you in what you're doing, whatever that might be. All right, so that is the dodge work. So if we turn that off and on, you can see, and I'm just looking for any areas here that I might have missed in the dodge. But I think everything looks pretty good. One other spot I want to get, though, I actually just see over here. I want to catch this edge of her arm. This needs a little bit of lightening here. Okay, definitely Lightroom, Kuchi said. Hello, Cyberdoc. How you doing, bud? I would use and purchase DxO Lab if it were available for iOS. Of course, I prefer the simplicity of Lightroom. Yeah, I'm not using. I tested the DxO Lab software on desktop, but again, you know, we're on the iPad on iOS or on iPad OS. The options are different. We have actually a pretty decent set of options to choose from as far as raw editing tools go on iPad. But in my opinion, and this is a video that I'm going to be making comparing these different raw editors for iPad, in my opinion, Lightroom is still the best. That doesn't mean to say that the other ones are bad, but I prefer the results I get from Lightroom. I prefer the tool set they offer. I think they have the best set of tools as far as their raw goes. All of those things. I love the workflow process, i.e. what do you do after you take the photo, and how do you manage your photos? Also, letting customer help refine your skills. So when you do stuff for yourself, yes, that's true, Drew. Yeah, when you do stuff for them, that helps you get better for the stuff that you do for yourself. Yeah, the workflow process I find really interesting too, and I'm constantly looking at my workflow, like literally from shot to delivery, and looking for ways to tweak and improve it to make it work better, to make it smoother, to make it more efficient. Edgar, do you want to see editing on Affinity Photo? Excellent. I'm planning on doing lots of videos about editing in Affinity Photo. Lots of tutorials showing you how to do different things. So that stuff is definitely on my roadmap. Besides one of my cameras, the DxO one might thrive on it. Okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense. How is that Luminar? So Luminar is pretty good, but that's also desktop only. Tim, catch you later, bud. I'll catch you later. I'll talk to you later, too. That might be good info for the Wednesday one. Yes, you're right, S squared. That would probably be a good topic, talking about how doing client work refines your skills. And workflow, honestly, would also be a good topic for the wind-up. Because your workflow as a person who owns and runs your business, that's really important. That in a lot of ways can make or break your business. It really can. So the difference between editing and retouching, honestly, there's really no difference. They're just different words for the same thing. But here, okay, it's like this. Retouching is a type of editing. Editing is the act of altering your photo. So taking the photo that you had from the camera and making alterations to that using editing software like Lightroom or Photoshop or Affinity Photo or whatever. That's editing. Retouching is a subset of editing, and retouching is usually a portrait of a person. And retouching that is refining the portrait by retouching skin and cleaning up the environment that they are in, and maybe retouching the clothes if the clothing are an important part of the shot, something like that. So editing is editing. Retouching is editing a portrait and doing things like skin retouching and skin smoothing and other things like that. So that's the difference, Shane. I have Affinity Photo and I'm like a first grader trying to learn high school algebra. I understand that. These programs, whether it's Affinity, whether it's Photoshop, and even Lightroom, they can be very daunting. And that's why I do what I do. That's why I make these videos. That's why I do these streams, so that we can learn together. And what I'm going to be doing with Affinity, I'm going to take two different approaches. First, I think I'll make a video. I'm either going to make one video or several videos that take you step by step through the process that I use to edit a single photo. So you can see my workflow step by step. The secondary thing that I plan to do is just make tutorials showing you how to use the different tools inside of Affinity. So as an example, right, like, how do you use the curves tool in Affinity? That would be a video, just talking about how to use the curves tool. But then also videos that are like, how do you change the color of something in Affinity? How do you make selections in Affinity? Or things like that, so that you can see how a person uses it. That's the videos of me editing my photos. Well, I'm not really editing here because we're talking, but you get the idea. And then videos showing you how to use the different tools, so that when you realize you have a tool you need, you can come and find my video and learn how to use that tool for the purpose that you're trying to achieve. So that's kind of the plan for the videos, broadly speaking. So I'm done with the dodge. I need to do the burn. So for the burn, I do the exact same thing. Tim's out. But for the burn, I now do a darkening layer, and I throw a mask on that one as well and do the same thing. So boom, change the name of that layer to burn, and select my layer mask and get to work. Oh, I forgot to do one spot of the dodge though, which is the eye. So we're just going to brighten the bright spots on the eye, and then we'll darken the dark spots on it too. So we'll go ahead and switch right to the burn and just do the burning immediately. And I'm going to group these together real quick. Yeah, it wasn't actually burning where I wanted to burn, so let me try that again. There we go. So now, there, we got it. I'm going to group these, and whoops. Let's group these proper like. There. So that's just the eye, but I'm not done with the dodge and burn yet. So back onto the burn. Make sure my burn is selected properly. Hey, Emmanuel, how's it going? That'd be great. Affinity videos. We all have different ways of using the tools. Exactly. So always looking for different ways. Right. That sounds good. A breakdown of the sliders and on a playlist would be really useful. Subvids, the video that I just did last Thursday, or yesterday, quite literally, is a detailed breakdown of all of the different sliders in Lightroom. So if you didn't watch that video on my channel, in fact, let me grab the link for that one for you real quick. It's not like a video per slider in Lightroom, but if that's what you're looking for, information on how those sliders work and what they do, that video would be good for you. So let me find that video real quick. Here we go. And I'll grab that link, and then I'll share it in the chat here for you. All right, Lightroom sliders explained. There it is. So that's, check that out. But if that doesn't, like, if that doesn't give you everything that you were looking for, let me know, like, what's missing, because that's another potential video that I can make. Hey, Wayne, dude, how you doing? I'm sorry, I saw you popped in earlier, and I was going to say hello, and then I ended off on whatever tangent I was on. So hello, Wayne. Hello, hello, hello. I'm old school. I still use JPEG and Luminar 3. There's nothing wrong with that, Wayne. Nothing wrong with that at all. I prefer RAW because of the latitude you have in the RAW processing of it. But I respect, and I have no problem with other people using JPEG. If that works for your workflow, that's great. And Luminar is really nice software for desktop. It's just because, and I've asked the people at Luminar if they have plans for a mobile version, and it's on their roadmap. Like, so they're planning on making some kind of a mobile version, but all of their focus right now is on the desktop versions of Luminar. And if they do a mobile one, who knows when that would be. So for me, Luminar just doesn't work because it's desktop based. Not because it's bad, but because I'm working here. And if I'm on desktop, I am working in the Lightroom and Photoshop ecosystem. So even there, I wouldn't be using Luminar just because I like the ecosystem that Adobe has set up. It works for me. It really does. Not everybody digs it, and I respect that, but it does work for me. So how many videos do you have planned? I mean, honestly, I don't even have a number. It's just, this is the plan, and I plan to keep making them until one of two things, until I determine one of two things. So here's a look at a YouTuber brain and evaluating this. So let's hop over here into the YouTube studio. This is my YouTube backend, and we're going to take a look at the videos because I want to show you something. What I have to do is I have to think about how my videos perform on my channel. And I am excited about this editing format. And so I want to make videos about this because right now, there's not a lot of people who are. There are some, but there are not a lot. And I feel like this is something that I could address very well. So what happened was, let me find the video. A while back, I'm not even sure when it was, so let me find it and we can determine when that was. Here we go. Back here in, I don't even know when it was released. I don't remember, but I made this video a while ago. And this video has done pretty well. Let me look here in my other studio interface where I can see when it came out. It's actually, I would need to just look, I think, at my YouTube channel. Let's see here. Yep, this is it right here. So I published that video on January 29th. So just a hair over 4 months ago. And it's gotten 20,000 views and a lot of positive reaction. When I first put the video out, not a ton of people watched it. But all of a sudden, it started getting a lot of traction. So what that said to me, in fact, let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's look at watch time. Not look at watch time. Let's look at views. Here we go. Let's look at views, and let's look at lifetime for this video. See what happened here? This video comes out, and I had a spike the day it came out. I had some views on it, like about 400 or so, And then it just kind of was sitting down here doing okay. But then all of a sudden, around May, boom, like this video just starts taking off. And people are interested in this, editing on iPad. So that tells me, make more of this type of video, editing on iPad. Right? So now that's what I'm trying to do. But if we look at my videos, you have to let me filter this out. All videos, public. Here we go. If we look at these videos that I've made that are iPad focused, they're still not doing like great compared to my normal videos, right? So here's an example. My best settings for low light photography video right here came out on Tuesday, and it's got 2,200, almost 2,300 views. The iPad video that I put out last Thursday only has 1,200 views. So they're not doing as well yet, but I feel like they're only going to do better as more people start looking at this as an editing option. So if that doesn't happen, if I make a bunch of videos but nobody's watching them, then I might not keep making them. But if what I think is going to happen happens, which is I keep making these videos and more people come to watch them because more people want to edit like this, then I'm just going to keep making those videos until it doesn't make sense to make them anymore. Until either A, I run out of topics, or B, something else happens. So that's the plan. But it is 1:06, and I've got a bunch of other stuff that I have to do today, including finishing the edit of the video that I was working on before I started this live stream today. I actually recorded a video this morning before I came on the live. And I need to finish editing that video because that's the video for next Thursday. And then get ready for our game night tonight and a bunch of other stuff. So with that, I'm going to wrap this up. I do want to say one more time, I never imagined I'd be watching a video on Spyros' backend. Well, I mean, you guys know, I think you guys have an idea now that I'm a pretty transparent guy. Like, I'm not, I don't really have anything to hide. So I'm not afraid to show you like what's going on and what my thought processes are behind the choices that I make and the things that I do. So, I'm happy to share that. All right, so last note before I do wrap it up, and that is if you would like to support me and my channel and the making of these videos and everything, there are a couple of different ways you could do that, and any support that you can give is greatly appreciated. So you can check out the merch store at shp.photo/merch, and you can pick up anything that suits your fancy with that slogan. You know what it is. You got to get out there and take some damn photos, right? And if you wanted to be an ongoing supporter, you could check out my Patreon and become a patron and get some cool perks and support me on a monthly basis, which is tremendously welcome. And once again, I do want to say thank you to PM and to Drew and to Tim for being, and Mike Ozinski is another patron. Sorry, Mike, I didn't mention you earlier, but Mike is also another one of my patrons. So thank you, all of you who are patrons. I appreciate you very much. And finally, if that doesn't work, I totally respect that. You can like this video, you can subscribe to my channel, you can tell your photographer friends about my streams and my videos, and that also helps tremendously. You can follow me on Instagram, share my stuff. That is a huge help if financial support isn't something that a person can offer. I totally understand that. I appreciate everything and anything that you do for me. And I appreciate all of you for coming to hang out with me when I do these streams, because it's a tremendous gift. And it's amazing that we can spend this time together, and I appreciate that. So, thank you so much, everybody. Please have a safe and amazing weekend. Make sure you get out there and take some damn photos. Here's the jazz hands. Bye! I gotta find my button. Where is it? There it is. Bye!